The helicopters grew louder. Their blades sliced through the sky like warning bells, echoing over the rooftops of the village. The Hulk stood unmoving in the center of the street, his massive frame casting a long shadow over the young woman behind him. She looked up at his back at the giant who moments ago had been pure destruction. Now stood like a silent wall between her and the world. Soldiers' voices crackled through loudspeakers. "This is a restricted area. Step away from the target immediately." The villagers peeked from behind broken doors and shattered windows. No one breathed. The girl stepped forward again slowly, carefully until she stood beside the Hulk. "You should go," she whispered. "They're afraid of you." The Hulk turned his head slightly, glancing down at her. Afraid. That word was familiar. Everyone was always afraid, but she wasn't. Not yet. He let out a low, uncertain sound, not a growl, not a roar, something closer to a question. She met his eyes. "I'm not afraid," she said quietly. "I just want to understand." A spotlight from one of the helicopters locked onto them, bathing the street in harsh white light. The Hulk squinted, his muscles tensed instinctively. The soldiers raised their weapons, and then the girl raised her hand. "Stop," she shouted. Her voice trembled, but it did not break. The soldiers hesitated. The Hulk looked down at her again, confused by this fragile human who stood unarmed before armed men and before him. She took a breath. "My name is Ayla," she said, her voice carrying across the street. "I live here. This is my home." She turned to face the helicopters. "He hasn't hurt anyone," she continued. He stopped. The soldiers didn't lower their weapons. "Ma'am, step away immediately." Ayla shook her head. "No. If you want him, you go through me." Gasps rippled through the village. The Hulk's eyes widened slightly. No one had ever stood in front of him like that. Not to challenge him, to protect him. Inside the Hulk's mind, something stirred. Fragments. A laboratory. Shattered glass. People screaming. Hands reaching out not to help, but to restrain. His head throbbed. He clenched his fists and dropped to one knee, the ground cracking beneath him. Ayla turned instantly. "Hey!" she said softly, placing her hand hesitant but steady against his massive fingers. "It's okay. You're safe here. Safe." The word echoed. The helicopters circled lower. A commander's voice barked an order. Weapons powered up. The Hulk looked at the soldiers, then at Ayla, then at the village. He rose slowly to his feet, not in rage, but resolve. He lifted one massive arm and held it out, not to strike, but to shield. The first shot rang out, a warning shot. The Hulk didn't flinch. Instead, he stepped forward, planting himself firmly between the soldiers and the village. Dust swirled around his feet. The villagers watched in stunned silence. He wasn't attacking. He was guarding. The soldiers hesitated again. "This thing is learning," one of them muttered. Ayla looked up at the Hulk. "You don't want to fight," she said. "I can see it." The Hulk looked down at her, then slowly shook his head. No, he didn't, but the world wouldn't let him choose peace so easily. Suddenly, a missile launcher locked into position on one of the helicopters. A red targeting light appeared on the Hulk's chest. Isla's breath caught. "Hulk," she whispered. The giant looked down at the glowing dot, then back at her, and for the first time he smiled. Just barely. Then he pushed her gently backward with 2 fingers and crouched low. The missile fired. The sky screamed. And the Hulk leaped. He launched himself into the air with earth-shattering force, grabbing the missile mid-flight and twisting his body, redirecting it away from the village, away from the people, away from her. The explosion thundered in the distant hills, lighting the horizon. The shockwave rattled the village but left it standing. The helicopters retreated slightly, stunned. The Hulk landed hard, cracking the ground beneath him. He looked back toward the village. Isla was running toward him. She reached him, breathless. "You could have been killed," she said. He looked at her, then tapped his chest, then pointed to her, a simple message. "Worth it." The village erupted, not in screams, but whispers of disbelief. "He saved us, he protected us." Isla looked around, tears forming in her eyes. She turned back to the Hulk. "They'll come back," she said quietly. "Bigger weapons, more fear." The Hulk stared toward the horizon. He knew she was right, and then his knees buckled. The rage holding him together began to fade. His massive form trembled. Isla caught his hand instinctively. "Hulk!" The giant groaned softly as his body began to change, shrank, slowly, painfully. The green faded, the power drained, leaving behind something fragile, human. Isla stared in shock. As the dust settled, a man lay unconscious in the Hulk's place, thin, broken, breathing. Isla knelt beside him, realization dawning. "The monster," she whispered, "is a man. Fear creates monsters. But understanding reveals the truth beneath them. And in this village, the truth was only just beginning." Follow for episode 3. The Protector Awakens.